the Lord teaches, Sojourn and Bliss of the pure spirits. To return everything, to completely return everything, therein lies the perfect, most perfect, yes, even the most perfect of all degrees of blessedness. However, in regards to returning all that belonged to a spirit's being, all that it was granted in the beginning, and all that it was given throughout its journey, it is neither demanded nor required of the spirit that it must do so on its own account. Whatever concerns the spirit's body and its previous being, in essence, everything it consists of, it will receive in due time and without any intervention of its own. However, it is an entirely different matter when it comes to the spirit's ability to pick back up everything that once belonged to its being. In a certain way, it will indeed be called to account for this ability, and that is because every spirit can and should acquire such ability from the precepts of the purest religion. Whoever refuses to be active, burying his talents and preferring to be satisfied with what is of the flesh rather than what is of the spirit, someone such as this must then ascribe it to himself when he is judged by the word that was given to him from on high as a faithful guide on how one must regain the life that was once granted and return it to whence it originally came. Thereupon, the already purified spirits must remain longer within this third region to regain their psychological components. Or, to put it more bluntly, the fact that they must wait within this third region until their earthly substance has, in a way, decayed and thereafter passed over into their spiritual substance. This process is not to be considered a punishment, but a necessity of equal importance as the duration of one's corporeal life on this earth, which too must last a certain amount of time. For some it might be short, yet longer for others, so that during this lifetime the spirit may gain sufficient time to continuously develop and manifest its very being. Who could claim that one must give an account of the time one has spent here on earth in the flesh? No one, for this life is a necessity, removed from and located outside a spirit's sphere of will, just as none must give an account of how long one's hair or the nail of one's finger has grown, nor of the pulsations of one's heart, and how often one has drawn breath. For all of this is a necessity. What form the reckoning, or rather the judgment, will take, depends solely upon one's active will. Everything else matters not, for it is all good and given freely, if only man's free will would be put in proper order, in accordance with the pure understanding of my divine will. If, on occasion, such pure spirits remain in this region for even several hundred years, they not only lose nothing, but only gain, because for the time being, they lose nothing at all. They are wholly joy and blissful. However, as far as their ever-increasing intelligence is concerned, it is evidently but a continuous occasion of gain, and the more they gain, the more complete and perfect they will return to where both their temporal and eternal destiny await them. Should they be responsible for but a small business, yet still make it their own, administering it properly and wisely, then one day they will be all the more capable of administering even greater things, where, as angelic spirits, they shall exert their vigor not merely over individual pieces of a heavenly body, but over entire swaths of outer space and celestial regions inhabited by suns, first over the spiritual, and from there over matter itself, through and through. This task certainly requires more than merely supervising individual areas, and this under the overall management of the angelic spirits, to whom this task of supervising the entire earth, from its very center all the way to the sun, has been entrusted. Yes, my beloved ones, wherever you believe to see little or nothing at all, there great things are unfolding, And it is thus, as a wise man once said, "Between the earth and the sun, things are occurring of which human reason has not yet even dreamt." It is also not a rare occasion for these pure spirits to descend to the second, sometimes even the first region. For the most part, however, their principal dwelling places are those regions of the earth which, due to their considerable height, are continuously covered in snow and ice. Therein too lies the reason for why such regions possess, as you tend to say, an almost magical, beatific, and simultaneously exhilarating, invigorating, and calming allure for nearly all of humanity. He who harbors sorrow in his heart and never seems to find rest, let him ascend to these heights, in my name, or travel close by at least, and his mind shall be doused with a strengthening balsam. As the mind grows duller, more difficult, and afflicted in the lower regions, the way a climber of mountain gorges and caves would feel, so too does the disposition of one who climbs these purer heights grow ever more cheerful and serene. And whoever ascends to such places may well exclaim, "Lord, it is good to be here." But I respond thereto, "It is not yet time for you to stay here. Nevertheless, I say, go gladly into the mountains, for even I, when I walked this earth in the flesh, frequently visited those heights. It was upon a mountain where I was transfigured. It was upon a mountain where I drove away the greatest of all tempters. It was upon a mountain where I preached the kingdom of heaven. It was upon a mountain where I prayed. And it was upon a mountain where I was crucified. Therefore, go gladly into mountains, for not only your spirit, but your body as well, will gain so much more from this than they would from visiting 100 pharmacies." And thus we now have passed through the third spiritual region of the earth as well, and not much remains to be said about it, merely this. Initially, the firstlings of the pure spirits reside where they had dwelled on earth during their corporeal lifetime. Once they become more perfect, however, their sphere of influence extends over the entire earth. The strongest of the spirits guard the polar regions, while the softer, gentler, and weaker spirits guard the tropical regions. The energetic spirits guard the sea, lakes, and rivers, while the beginners are entrusted with larger or smaller mountains to watch over, including everything that exists thereupon. This you may commit to memory as well. Female spirits mostly supervise the plant life, exerting influence over the whole of vegetation upon the surface of the earth. Now that we know this too, we may descend into the second air region, where things start to become much more ragtag compared to the third region, also known as the region of peace. And so, next we shall cover the second region.